Alexander Thorne stepped through the grand oak doors of his sprawling mansion earlier than usual that evening, his mind still buzzing from the high-stakes board meeting that had wrapped up unexpectedly. The ice-cold billionaire, as the tabloids loved to call him, had built his empire on steel nerves and unyielding ambition, but tonight, something felt off. He loosened his tie, expecting the usual quiet hum of his home. His 3-year-old triplets, Lily, Lucas, and Leo, should be in bed by now, under the watchful eye of their nanny, Elena. But as he approached the nursery, a soft melody drifted through the air, stopping him dead in his tracks. What he saw through the cracked door left him utterly speechless, his heart pounding in a way it hadn't in years. Imagine this, a man who commands billions, who has faced down corporate sharks without flinching, now frozen in place, watching his nanny. Gentle, unassuming Elena, cradling all 3 of his children in her arms, tears streaming down her face as she whispered words that shattered his world. But what was she saying? And why did it feel like his carefully constructed life was about to unravel? Alexander's life hadn't always been this way. Born into old money, he had taken the family fortune and multiplied it tenfold through ruthless tech investments and real estate deals. But success came at a cost. His wife, Sophia, had died in a tragic car accident just months after the triplets were born, leaving him a widower drowning in grief. He buried his pain in work, hiring nannies to handle the children he could barely look at without seeing Sophia's eyes staring back. Elena was the latest, a 28-year-old with a background in early childhood education, recommended by his assistant. She was efficient, kind, and kept her distance, just as he preferred. Or so he thought. That night, as he peered into the nursery, the scene unfolded like a dream he wasn't prepared for. The room was bathed in the soft glow of a nightlight, casting shadows on the walls adorned with pastel murals of forests and animals. Elena sat on the floor, surrounded by pillows and blankets, the triplets nestled against her. Lily, the smallest and most delicate, clutched a stuffed bunny, her tiny fingers twisting its ears. Lucas, the adventurous one, had his head on Elena's lap, while Leo, the quiet observer, stared up at her with wide eyes. Elena was singing a lullaby, her voice trembling. "Hush now, my darlings, the stars are awake. Mommy's watching over you, for heaven's sake." Alexander's breath caught. Mommy? She was calling herself their mommy? Rage bubbled up inside him. How dare she overstep like that? But as he listened, he realized it wasn't arrogance, it was something deeper, more heartbreaking. Elena wiped her tears, continuing, "Your real mommy loves you so much, even from up there. And I'll be here until she calls me home too." What did that mean? Alexander leaned closer, his hand on the door, ready to burst in. But then Elena pulled out a small photo from her pocket, a faded picture of a woman who looked strikingly like Sophia. His world tilted. Who was this woman, and what secret was she hiding? The next morning, Alexander couldn't shake the image from his mind. He paced his home office, the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the manicured gardens of his estate in the hills outside New York City. The triplets were downstairs with Elena, their laughter echoing up the stairs like a foreign language he hadn't learned. He had avoided them for so long, delegating every bath time, every story, every milestone to hired help. But last night had cracked something inside him. He decided to confront her, but subtly. Over breakfast, he joined them in the sunlit kitchen, a rare occurrence that made Elena's eyes widen in surprise. "Good morning, Mr. Thorne," she said, her voice steady but her hands fidgeting with a napkin. The triplets squealed in delight at seeing their father, toddling over to hug his legs. He patted their heads awkwardly, his touch tentative. "Elena, I came home early last night. I heard you singing to them." Her face paled, and she busied herself with pouring juice. "Oh, I hope it didn't disturb you. They had a rough day, Lily had a fever." He nodded, but his eyes searched hers. The song, about their mommy. It sounded personal. She froze, then forced a smile. Just a lullaby, sir. Nothing more. But Alexander wasn't convinced. As the day wore on, he found himself watching her more closely, noticing how she anticipated the children's needs, how her laughter filled the empty spaces in the house. Yet, there was a sadness in her eyes, a shadow that mirrored his own. Days turned into weeks, and Alexander began spending more time at home. He cancelled meetings, delegated tasks, all under the guise of family priorities. The truth was, Elena intrigued him. She was from a small town in the Midwest, orphaned young and raised by her grandmother. She had put herself through college on scholarships, dreaming of helping children like she once was. But there was more. Whispers from his background check that she had lost someone close recently. One evening, as the sun set in a blaze of orange, he found her in the garden, pushing the triplets on swings. "Elena, join me for dinner tonight. Just us adults." She hesitated, but agreed. Over candlelight and fine wine, the barriers began to crumble. "Why did you take this job?" he asked, his voice softer than usual. She toyed with her fork. "I needed a fresh start. My fiancé, he passed away last year. Cancer." It was sudden. Alexander's heart ached in recognition. "I'm sorry. I know loss." They shared stories, his about Sophia's accident, hers about the man she thought she'd marry. For the first time in years, Alexander felt seen, not as the billionaire mogul, but as a man broken by grief. As the night deepened, their conversation turned intimate, laughter mixing with tears. But just as he leaned in, perhaps to bridge the gap between them, his phone buzzed. An urgent email. A corporate rival was launching a takeover bid. Duty called, pulling him away. Elena's eyes held a question unspoken: would he ever choose them over his empire? The takeover threat consumed Alexander for days. He retreated to his office, barking orders into his phone, the old ice returning to his veins. Elena noticed the change, the way he snapped at small things, the distance growing again. The triplets sensed it too, becoming fussy and clingy. One afternoon, while Alexander was on a conference call, Lily fell from her play structure in the backyard, scraping her knee badly. Elena rushed to her, bandaging it with care, but Lily wailed for her daddy. Elena scooped her up, whispering comforts, but inside, doubt gnawed at her. Was this job worth it? She had grown to love these children as her own, but Alexander's walls seemed impenetrable. That night, after tucking the triplets in, Elena sat alone in her room, journaling her thoughts. They're so much like him, strong, but vulnerable. I wish he could see how much they need him. Unbeknownst to her, Alexander had overheard the fall incident from his assistant. Guilt washed over him. He knocked on her door, finding her with red-rimmed eyes. "Elena, I'm sorry. For everything." They talked late into the night, vulnerabilities laid bare. He admitted his fear: if I let them in, and lose them like Sophia. She took his hand. "Life's about risks, Alexander. Love is the biggest one." In that moment, something shifted. He pulled her close, their lips meeting in a kiss that felt like coming home. But fate had other plans. The next morning, Alexander received a call from his lawyer. "Sir, we've uncovered something about Elena. She's not who she says she is." His heart stopped. The background check had missed it initially, but deeper digging revealed Elena had a connection to Sophia, her sister? No, something worse. Elena was Sophia's half-sister, unknown to him until now, seeking to connect with the family she never knew. Was her presence a coincidence, or a calculated move? Alexander confronted her in the kitchen, the triplets playing nearby. "Tell me the truth, Elena. Who are you really?" Elena's face crumpled. "I didn't know how to tell you. Sophia was my half-sister, we shared a father who abandoned us both. I found out after her death, through old letters. I applied for the job to be near the children, to honor her memory. But I fell in love with them, and with you. Alexander reeled, betrayal mixing with confusion. You lied to me. She nodded, tears falling. I was scared you'd send me away. The triplets, sensing the tension, began to cry. Alexander stormed out, leaving Elena devastated. How could he trust her now? Was everything a facade? Weeks passed in a tense standoff. Alexander worked from home but kept his distance, hiring a temporary aide to help. Elena stayed, for the children's sake, but the house felt colder than ever. The triplets missed the warmth, their behaviors regressing, nightmares, tantrums. One stormy night, Leo spiked a high fever, convulsing in his sleep. Elena called for Alexander, panic in her voice. Together, they rushed to the hospital, the drive a blur of rain and fear. In the waiting room, as doctors stabilized Leo, Alexander broke. I can't lose him. I can't lose any of them. Elena held him. You won't. But you have to let us in. In that vulnerable moment, he saw her not as a liar, but as a woman who had risked everything for love. Leo recovered, a wake-up call for Alexander. He delved into the truth. Elena's story checked out. Sophia had mentioned a half-sibling in passing, but never pursued it. Elena had no ulterior motives, no claim to the fortune, just a desire for family. Alexander apologized, on his knees in the nursery. Forgive me. I was afraid. She did, and they rebuilt, stronger. He scaled back his work, attending playdates, reading bedtime stories. The triplets flourished, their laughter echoing through the halls. But challenges lingered. Alexander's board questioned his commitment, rumors swirling about his softening. A rival executive plotted to oust him, leaking false stories to the press. Elena stood by him, her quiet strength an anchor. Together, they faced a public scandal when Elena's identity leaked. Tabloids screamed, "Billionaire's nanny is dead wife's secret sister." They held a press conference, Alexander's arm around her. Elena is family. And soon, my wife. The proposal came later, under the stars in the garden, the triplets as witnesses. Their wedding was intimate, the triplets stealing the show as flower girl and ring bearers. Alexander's empire thrived under balanced leadership, proving vulnerability wasn't weakness. Elena opened a foundation for orphan children, channeling their pain into purpose. Years later, as the triplets grew into bright teens, Alexander reflected on that fateful night. What shocked him speechless wasn't betrayal, but love in its purest form. He had been ice-cold, but Elena's warmth melted him, teaching that true strength lies in opening your heart. And there you have it, folks. An emotional journey from shock to redemption. If this story touched you, hit that like button and subscribe for more heartwarming tales that remind us love conquers all. Thanks for watching.